Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is February 3rd, 2025. We welcome you to the February meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Archiola.
Present.
Alderman Beatty.
Present.
Alderman Bevan.
Here.
Alderman Casey.
Here.
Alderman Federico.
Here.
Alderman Fowler.
Here.
Alderman Healy.
Here.
Alderman Jenkins.
Here.
Alderman Marlowe.
Here.
Alderman Mulrennan.
Here.
Alderman Pacelli.
Alderman Pacelli is going to be a little bit late, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Alderman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Vitro.
Here.
Alderman Vitale. Alderman Willis.
Here.
14 are present.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we have a presentation by the Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to City Hall. Tonight's a very special night. We are recognizing Milford's 2024 Milford Eagles Tiny Mite cheerleading team. Comprised of 22 cheerleaders, has brought great honor and pride to themselves and to our community. And we're so grateful for all of your hard work. The Tiny Mite cheerleaders placed first in show cheer at the state's competition, first in show cheer at the Southern Connecticut Pop Warner competition, and first in sideline cheer at the regionals in Massachusetts. The team then traveled to Orlando, Florida, where they participated in the Nationals, placing first in show cheer, becoming national grand champions. That's a lot of hard work, and we're so very proud of you representing our city of Milford, the small city with the big heart. Cheerleaders Molly, Samantha, Anna, Luna, Emma, Aubrey, Havana, Emily, Blair, Sloan, Adeline, Kayla, Claire, Reese, Taylor, Reagan, Alexandra, Jacqueline, Jillian, Scarlett, Natalia, and Sadie. Sadie. I'm sorry, where's Sadie? Raise your hand. Oh, okay. Hi. Hi, Sadie. You did all such a great job, and we're so very proud of you. Together with the head coach, Courtney, assistant coaches, Danielle, Tiffany, Kayla, Lee, and Harley, Mackenzie, Eloise, Sophia, Avery, and Sahara assembled a winning combination through hard work, dedication, enthusiasm, and competed in championship-level cheerleading as a testament to their own abilities, coaching expertise, and a desire to win. Congratulations. Now, therefore, I, Anthony S. Ginatasio, Mayor of the City of Milford, Connecticut, by virtue of the authority vested in me on behalf of all of our citizens, do hereby extend our congratulations to Milford Eagles Tiny Mite cheerleading team and extend this expression of our pride in their accomplishments and our appreciation for the fine manner in which they have represented our community. Once again, congratulations. I would like each of you to come up here, and I'd like to present you with this proclamation, and it would be my honor. Take a quick picture. You can line up back here if you want. It's okay?
Over here. Oh. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are strictly limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. Please use every effort to limit public speaking to the permissible business of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements, or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Please keep in mind that the structure of our meeting does not allow for two-way dialogue during public comment or to answer any of your questions during public comment. Residents can contact their district alderman by phone or by email regarding any issue of concern for the purpose of obtaining general information or guidance on what city agency may be of assistance. We welcome and appreciate your comments and opinions regarding city business and community matters. All your concerns will be taken in consideration. We thank you for your cooperation. Anyone wishing to access the board can do so at this time. Please state your name and address so the secretary on the record.
Scott Montfort, 39 Baker Street. How about those cheerleaders? Good evening, Chairman Vitro, Board of Aldermen, Mayor Genatasio, and Peter. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm here in opposition to the road at Fowler Field. People ask me, hey, Scott, why do you even bother? Your kids are grown. Why do you care? And I tell them, I've always enjoyed coaching. I enjoy helping the kids, the community. I'm very active and very involved. And there's a new generation of parents, new generation of kids, and I want to be part of that new generation and help them, because I didn't have that opportunity when I was younger. We were just kind of thrown out there and we kind of faked it until we made it. And every kid in this league is my kid, from ages 1.5, believe it or not, 1.5, all the way up to 12 years old, which will be affected by that field down there. We go all the way up to 19. Although my children are grown and they're no longer in the league anymore, I have a duty as a league official to speak out against the road due to safety concerns. And it's not just the league who opposes this, but we are the most vocal because it has the most impact on our field. I always believe, if you guys know me, I always believe in standing up for what's right, even if I stand alone. The reasons for moving the road, I've been told, safety, beautification. I'm not against beautification. I think we could do so much down there to improve on what's already there and not put that road between our field and the courts and the basketball courts. Safety. Everybody says there's safety issues over by the library. I'm not saying there aren't any. To my knowledge, and I've been there since 1995, I've never heard of a kid being hit by a car. I've never heard about it. And I was a paramedic for many years. I would have heard about it, but I never did. I'm not saying there's close calls and fender benders and stuff. We're going to take that road now, and that curves around the pavilion, and people go, and they use it as a cut-through, and now we're going to put it between the fields, and guarantee you people are going to be using it as a cut-through. There'll be a small fence, from what I understand. It's not on the plans yet. There'll be a small fence. A chain link fence is not going to stop a car or a truck. And let's face it, people lose control. It's going to be a straightaway from New Haven Avenue. They're going to go through that fence, and they could hit people that are congregating there. A lot of our kids play out in that open green space. Let's leave it green space. Let's come up with another solution. Let's pause. Let's put together a focus group, involve a lot of people, and come up with a solution that works for everybody. I'm not saying that Senator Maroney, his intentions aren't good at all. I just think that the road wasn't well thought out. And I know Alderman Morenin, your children are small. I remember they're up to here now, but I remember when the older ones are playing, the younger one's out, and he's playing outside the field. We have a lot of siblings playing outside the field. Alderman Pacelli, I know your kids have played on those fields. I know you've been at a lot of our tournaments, and you actually see where those kids are congregating outside there. There's tents up, there's cooling stations, people are eating, and that's kind of right in the area where that road is going. Let's pause the project, like I said before, and come up with some options that will work for everybody. In closing, I want to leave you with a quote from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. The time is always right to do what's right, so I hope you guys consider this when you make your decision. And I thank you for all you guys do for the community It's a volunteer position, and I know as a volunteer for the community, it's not easy. Thank you, everybody.
Good evening. My name is Mike Giorgetti. I live at 1033 New Haven Avenue, and I am president of the Babe Ruth Softball, part of JML, helping them guys out. Most of you know me. I started my 40th year volunteering in these youth programs. I'm only 64. I've seen a lot of bad ideas come out of this building when it comes to the ball fields and the young kids. And you could put this in the category of a bad idea when it comes to that road. That road needs to be moved away from those fields. Keep it where it is. We're not against improvements, but we are definitely against that road. Now, I've been president of Babe Ruth down there since 1999, International Little League, Pop Warner. I've been around, and most of you guys know it. I wouldn't come here unless it was serious. You know, I've been down here for lights and everything else you guys did. Mayor Riccitelli thought enough to involve us when they purchased Milford Academy, asked us what our concerns are, what we need down there, what could help. Nothing when it came to this. The road has to get moved from the present plan it's on. Fix everything else, but not that road. That road has to stay away from the fields. That open area that Scott was talking about, that's where when we do our tournaments and we have our games, that's where the kids all warm up. You can't be putting a road going through there. It's just not a good idea. And I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Paterna, 57 Harborview Avenue. 30-year resident, also business owner in town. I, too, am against the road. I'm a coach. Like Scott, my children no longer play down there, but I'm here because of my concern. And, I mean, I plan on coaching in this town for the next, I don't know, I'm 50-something, so the next 50 years at least. And I don't want to see kids get hurt. And I think that the intention that Senator Maroney has is good. I'm not saying, I appreciate the fact that he wants to invest in our town and make it pretty and make it nice, but I think that if we just apply a little bit of common sense and look at the situation, it's a problem that's being solved and creating another bigger problem, and that's the way it looks. If you want to look at the public interest in this debate, you should go on to the You're from Milford site. You guys ever go on Facebook and see that page? There's 42,000 people that belong to that group. And it's very, you probably get a couple hundred different posts a day on there. Go check it out. We've posted this a couple of times now, and we've gotten a lot of conversation back and forth. And you'll notice, if you actually look, that about 90% of the comments are against the road. So there's not a lot of people out there that are like, yay, this is great. There's a road that's going to go right between where a bunch of kids play on a playground, and a bunch of kids are playing baseball. And if anybody's been down there, like Scott was saying, like the previous speaker was saying, people congregate in that area. And it's an area where kids are playing, they're watching the games, and it just doesn't add up. When I'm speaking in my office, patients will ask me, what's going on with the road, because they know that I'm involved in this. And I'll say, well, it seems like there's an interest in putting this road there, and they'll say, why? And I'll say, well, because it's pretty. It's going to look nicer if they put the road there and we've got more green space by the water. But on one hand, it's nicer looking. On the other hand, it's potentially more dangerous. So at the end of the day, when we're voting on this, basically we're voting against nicer looking versus potentially dangerous. And I think it's a hard position for you guys to be in. I understand that. I wouldn't want to be sitting in your position making this decision, because this decision is going to could have a major impact. And I would just hate that, God forbid, one day we find out that someone gets hurt when we didn't have a problem in the first place. If there was a problem and we had an issue in the past, I would say, okay, we should consider this. But the fact that we haven't had an issue with the way that it's set up right now just seems to me that this is not a great idea. So I would hope that we could exercise, some pause with this, and like Scott said, maybe come up with an alternative plan. That's all I have to say. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, James Maroney, 10 Grove Street, Milford, State Senator for the 14th District. When I was coming in, my friend said, oh, there's a dance team here, but it only took the Pledge of Allegiance to know that those weren't dancers, they were cheerleaders. You could hear them very well from the back, so congratulations again to the Tiny Mites, and just say, how lucky are we all that we get to represent this community? And I think we're starting this from a shared place of values. That we all here want what's best for our children, for the future of our community. We may disagree sometimes on how we get there, but we share that value of doing what's best for our community. And I just want to go back to when this project was officially accepted in 2022, when the Board of Aldermen unanimously approved this project. This project has always been about safety. There are actually articles in the paper at that time that this project was about safety. In fact, the safety of library patrons was so important to Chris Angeli that she asked to sit in on all of the meetings. And while the library doesn't officially track it, they regularly get complaints for cars speeding through the parking lot, families not realizing that that's an active roadway. Mothers going to the moms groups at the library have to walk their kids across that road to go to the playground. If you've ever been to Hoops by the Harbor, you know how busy it is down there in that area. As well as they receive complaints in the library from families walking their children across the footbridge and getting dumped into the middle of a road without a sidewalk and having to come back to the library. In August of 22, Mayor Blake at that time announced a building committee that would be supervising this. It was myself, Connie Gaynor, former Republican alder, and Rich Jago. Over the past 2.5 years, we've met 8 times. We've had various meetings which were listening sessions. We've incorporated feedback from a number of people to try to improve the plan. We know that the way the plan is, it makes it safer if you're coming across the footbridge. It makes it safer. There's clearer walkways now if you're going from the library into the parking lot and over to the pavilion, to the fields, to the tennis courts. It does create 4 crosswalks that will take it across the road. So if you're coming from the baseball fields over to cross that road, there will be 4 crosswalks. We are planning on fencing in the playground area, as well as putting a fence around the baseball field so that if you're watching the game, your family, you don't have to worry about the family there. That will be fenced in. We do plan on increasing the height of the fence at the baseball field because we've heard of foul balls, the concern about foul balls. So we've done our best to incorporate changes whenever people have come to work with us to try to improve the safety. We know also right now that for 3 out of the 4 fields, you're walking across a parking lot that is not up to current codes. And a lot of people, if you've ever been there to go to a game at around 5 or 6 o'clock when some people are leaving the train station and other families are coming in, you know how busy and congested that area is. And so there will now be a sidewalk that goes to a crosswalk to lead through there, and it'll be an up-to-code parking lot. Instead of 2 lots on different levels, it'll be 1 lot. So we've heard again of the various safety concerns, and we know that we need to do something, right? And we can't just hope that nothing happens, because hope is not a plan. And we have a plan. While it's not a perfect plan, we have worked over years and incorporated feedback, and overall it improves the safety of the area behind the fields, and we look forward to continuing to work with people to make that plan even better. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Kathy Patterson. I live at 514 West River Street. I am here as a grandmother. and proposed against the road near the playground. My concern is, yes, kids play ball, and I'm not here as one of those moms or grandmoms, but little kids, as we know, they come with their siblings to play baseball, and moms are busy doing their thing, watching one thing while the other child is probably playing on the playground. My concern is the safety of those little ones. A playground there is only up to maybe age 9, so even with a crosswalk, adults don't pay attention. I don't expect a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. So that's my concern, is to just redo the road. I love the beautification. I think it'll be an asset to Milford. I just think we need to just look at the structure of that road, or the playground, maybe move the playground to be on the same side maybe with the baseball field. That's my concern. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Monk, 38 Old Royd Street. Like everyone else, I think that beautifying behind the library sounds great. I have 3 kids. They don't play Little League anymore, but they do go down, they watch their friends. When one of them wants to go over to the playground, I don't have much of a concern. I keep an eye on it. With the busy road there, the current situation, is it perfect? No. But you have a natural slowdown as you have to hit the bottom of the street. You have to take a right turn, and then you have to take a left turn shortly thereafter. I understand that when you cross over the footwalk bridge, as was said, you're walking back across to a street, but are we also slowing down Hellwig Street on the other side? Because when you cross the footbridge going the opposite way, you're into an even busier street. So to me, that's somewhat of a moot point that you're trying to say you need to be safe on one side of that footbridge, but not on the other one. The beautification plan sounds great. Let's make this safe for everyone, but I think sending a street straight through where the children play and congregate and not having it one unified position is a horrible idea. And I hope that you all take that into consideration. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Sarah Wood and I live at 198 Gulf, and I'm here to talk about the Founders Walk and why these improvements matter. Right now we have a chance to make Milford safer and more accessible and more connected, but instead of talking about the real issues, some folks are talking about, we don't want this progress, even though the street, people watch your freaking kids, like go watch your kids. Anyway, I won't make personal attacks. This project isn't about making the city look pretty for the sake of it. It's about basic safety and function, ensuring people can actually use our public spaces without unnecessary risk or inconvenience. What does that mean? That means making crossings safer for pedestrians near the footbridge, the pavilion, and basketball court. That means fixing the accessibility ramp at the footbridge. Right now it empties into a blind curve. That's not access, that's negligence. Expanding water access, because Milford's waterfront should work for everyone. Improving drainage, because when it rains, a lot of the area floods, including the playground. And what's the point of a park no one can use? These are practical, necessary upgrades, yet somehow, this is what people are choosing to fight over. The same folks clutching their pearls over sidewalks and water access are also the ones panicking about tampons and school bathrooms as if a cotton on a string is more dangerous than ghost guns in classrooms. And let's be honest, when people say, we don't want Milford to be like Bridgeport or New Haven, let's talk about what that really means. What that really means is we don't want diversity. They want a time capsule of the past where they don't have to see or acknowledge change. And let's be honest, when people say, sorry, but Milford is changing, it's growing, and it's thriving, and it's becoming more inclusive. Thank God, because I look at our aldermen, and it's not diverse. Let's just be real about that. The world is incredibly chaotic right now. Real crises are unfolding. I just got back from DC, where a plane crashed outside my hotel window. A direct result of firing, hiring freezes, backdoor deals, and piss-poor leadership that values loyalty over competence. Let's not have that bleed into Milford. And yet some are the same people panicking about sidewalks, some people that are panicking about sidewalks and boat ramps don't seem to mind sweetheart deals that let private leagues lease taxpayer-funded fields next to nothing, and the fields are predominantly maintained by the city. So when it comes to wasted money and misplaced priorities, let's be real about what's actually happening. We have the opportunity to build a safer and a stronger and a more welcoming city. And that's not controversial, it's progress. If there's a road going down the middle past some baseball fields that have crosswalks and fences around the playgrounds, that's safety, that's access. And if you're not watching your one kid while the other one's playing baseball, that's negligence. Let's stop resisting change and embracing a better Milford. I cede my time.
Hi. So, few tough acts to follow tonight, but my name is Lauren Mahler. I live at 11 Plymouth Place, and I am a mom. I am a former Little League mom who, by the grace of an 8-year-old's choice, is now a soccer mom, which is, from what I can tell, the exact same thing, except I only have to do it for an hour and a half, not the 3 to 4 hours that we used to sit out and get sunburns and freeze at the same time. Now we just do that for shorter periods of time. But I loved our experience here in Milford with the sports and the leagues that we've gotten to play in and the other parents and the families that we have gotten to expand our family into. There are coaches who helped raise my daughter and who I am so grateful are still parts of our lives, and it's such a huge part of this community, and it blends into so many other parts of the community. Not only did we spend time at the field, not only do we have friends who spend time on Friday nights at Hoops by the Harbor, we spend time at the library, we spend a lot of time at that playground. I can tell you every time anything changed on that playground because I had a little tiny documenter who was like, nope, that used to be blue. And you're like, okay, great, climb the ladder anyway. But one thing that I can tell you is that it's always been very noticeable to me in the 10 years that we have been going back there with kids for various events, that it is a straight up free-for-all. You can say that cars are going to slow down when they come around the curve, but I tell you they don't. You can say that when you walk with your kids, you can hold their hand, look both ways, and get across the parking lot. You probably can, but it's not going to be the calm, quiet walk that you hoped it would be. Getting from the playground, you're not going to the library without going to the playground. There is no parent in Milford that is getting away with that. It's just not a thing. So you are always crossing that parking lot. You are always going around, playing on the playground, or going to the field, or going back and forth. And I, for one, am thrilled that there is going to be a measure of safety that is actually being implemented in that space. I've worked on some public safety campaigns in other cities and in other places around the country previously, and the safest thing that you can do to keep people and cars where they need to be is to create very clearly designated places for cars and very clearly designated places for people. And right now we don't have that. You go behind the library, you draw a big old circle around the field all the way over to the water and everything else, and again, some are parking, some are moving, some are running, some are playing, some are hitting, some are speeding. You never know what you're gonna get at any time of day. And I love this plan, and I know a lot of other families who feel the same way, who spend a lot of time down there, because there are going to be designated places for cars, and there are gonna be designated places for people. There's gonna be crosswalks, there's gonna be signs, there's gonna be fences, and there's gonna be common sense, so that we are not playing Frogger every time a kid wants to go down the slide. Because that's something you just kind of get used to, and you know you have to accept when you go back there. So I am looking forward to seeing how this just makes that whole area safer for everybody. Eventually my kid's gonna outgrow the playground. But you know what? Someone else's kid isn't. And all those little brothers and sisters who are always the exact same age when the exact same age is playing on that field are gonna have a safer place to be. And as parents, you're not gonna have to worry about whether or not they're disappearing in a parking lot full of cars who aren't really sure where they're going or how to park or looking for things and circling around anyway. So I love it, I support it. There are a lot of us out there that do, and you won't always hear us on Facebook, because in my experience, Facebook is very, very good at reminding us that Milford is a small city, but it's not always good at reminding us we have a really big heart. So I would say read your Facebook comments, read your posts, but do it with a grain of salt, because the rest of us are out there and we really like things that are safe. Thank you.
John Wazensky, 4 Carriage Path North, Milford. I'm actually not here to talk about the road, I just came to listen. But this came up in an Alderman meeting a couple of months ago, and now it came up here tonight, and I think we need to clear up any confusion. Those fields that get leased for $1 from the city do not actually get maintained by the city. They are taken care of by both leagues. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to maintain those fields every year. If the city wants them back, they should take them. But to have people come up here and an alderman previously say that we lease them for $1 and we don't do any work down there is insanity. The dugouts, the fences, that's all by the league. The light bulbs before the city went to LED, they're replaced by the league every year. Tens of thousands of dollars. That statement is crazy, no matter who makes it. And it's disappointing that a city official says it too, and Chris is somewhere here, he could tell you, they're not putting any effort in down there. It's not their fault. We lease them, we're happy to maintain them. But we can't be confused and say, oh, we're getting them for $1, we're using them all the time, and that the leagues aren't taking care of them. And I'll speak for JML and Little League right now. Those guys put a ton of work in down there, from volunteers to whether they pay landscapers. The fields look great all year. So to sit there and say that we don't do a good job or that we're getting them as a handout, that's not true. So I just want to let you guys know that. Thanks.
Anyone else wishing to address the board can do so at this time. If not, we'll move on to the agenda item number 3, Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen held on January 6, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Morenin.
I'd like to make a technical correction on the minutes. On page 9, just above 8B, where it says motion carried, 7 in favor, 6 against, needs to be removed. There was no vote taken for that motion because Mr. King withdrew his name for consideration.
Thank you, Alderman Mulrennan. Is there any more discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes with one correction. Alderman, the next item on the agenda is agenda item number 4, consideration of minutes of the special organizational meeting, which was there none. The next item on the agenda is chairman's report and recommendations. I'd just like to give you a heads up. I've been plowing snow since 3 o'clock this morning, so if I mess up or something, or that's what it's from, just want to call your attention to it anyways. That's all I have. Alderman Pacelli. Oh, I'm sorry. Mayor's report. Mr. Mayor, we have a report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to the members of the board, and thank you for the public comments and thoughts and expressing your concerns. We truly appreciate that as always. And Chairman Vitro, to that point, the storm, I'd like to thank the police department, the fire department, and also the public works department for their great job that they did of clearing the roads and keeping us safe. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Diane Nico passed away. I don't know if board members realize that, but she was someone who truly gave back to the community. She was a business owner. She was one of the founding members of the Milford Oyster Festival, and I had the privilege of presenting a proclamation this past summer with Diane, and she truly will be missed, and I just wanted to mention that. May our thoughts and prayers be with her family at this time. An announcement, we're planning Saturday, March 29th, along with the veterans, there will be a premier event in Milford, the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam Veterans Day, to honor and remember our Vietnam veterans. It's a welcome home tribute It's going to be well-attended. There's going to be veterans coming from all over the state. We will be proud to honor our veterans in hosting this in Milford. So please save the date. It's March 29th, and the events will be on the green, the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, and also City Hall. As we get closer, there'll be more details online. And last week, I had the privilege, along with Chairman Vitro, to attend the Milford former police officers retirement dinner, and there was actually 14 officers that retired, and it's really, truly amazing how many people that want to serve in Milford as a police officer. It's a multi-generational department. There's up to 3 generations of police officers from different families serving on our great department. And I just, on behalf of the entire community, want to thank them for letting us sleep peacefully every night and the job that they do, and wish them all the best in their future endeavors on their retirement. The agenda this evening, items 8A through 8E. 8A, Mr. Gradwell is someone who reached out to the mayor's office looking for ways to serve and volunteer in the community. I'm truly thankful for Mr. Gradwell's willingness to step up. I think he'll be a great addition to inland wetlands. You can see his resume, and it speaks volumes of his experience and his public service. And also, Deepa Joseph, our health director, will be here to answer any questions for item 8B through 8D in regards to the related Health and Human Services Department. And also, our open space manager, Jeremy Grant, will be here to answer any questions that you may have in regards to the acceptance of the donated property on Northmore Road. This was received unanimous support from the Planning and Zoning Board, and that's before you tonight, so I would respectfully request your considerations for items 8A through 8E. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Chairman? Yes. Alderman Willis.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, to Mayor Jean Intasio. As you know right now in this country, and Milford's certainly not immune to it, we have a president here that's causing chaos and a lot of anxiety for people. So I'm one, excuse me, Alderman Smith, I have the floor, I'm speaking. I'm speaking, I have the floor.
Parliamentary procedure. Are we going to comment on presidential elections now?
I have the floor.
This is out of order,
Excuse
Mr.
me.
Chairman.
Okay, so I'm wondering, now, we're a local community and safety is very important. We had the superintendent, Dr. Kataya, had a very nice memo and she sent it out. I'm wondering what you're doing on the city side, what your protocols are there, just in case ICE or any federal agents wants to come into a school, a church, healthcare centers. What are you doing to address that on the city side?
Objection, Mr. Chairman. This is not on the agenda. This is wholly out of order.
I think it's very important, Alderman Smith.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so make a motion to amend the agenda.
Well, can you, Alderman Giutasio, can you answer the question, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Willis. Alderman Willis, I appreciate your concern, but I have the utmost confidence in our Constitution and in our local city government that people will be treated fairly and justly. Thank you.
You actually are saying right now you support the Constitution. You voted for somebody and support somebody that's violating every single thing of this Constitution.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to have an attack on the mayor here tonight? Is that what's going to go on?
And I have one more comment.
You're not allowed to attack people.
You'll raise your hand if you want to get recognized.
I have a little anecdote here. I have an anecdote, a family anecdote. I have my great-grandfather came here from Poland. He lived in Milford, just on West Main Street. It was about 100 years ago. Anecdotes that my grandfather has told me. My great-grandfather was Walter Maluski, coming from Poland. He wrote letters to the editor in the city of Milford telling about authoritarian governments and fascism because of Adolf Hitler. And it disgusts me that 100 years from now, I still have to, and he got death threats back then. And I see I'm getting a lot of pushback from this community, and it's very disappointing. And you know what? If I personally never get elected again, so be it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your report. The next item on the agenda is item number 7. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, unfinished business. There is none. Item number 8, new business. Alderman Pasali.
Excuse me. Agenda item number 8A, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the appointment of Raymond Gradwell, 120 Milford Point Road, as an alternate member of the Inland Wetlands Agency, term to expire 12/31/27.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is Raymond Gradwell here tonight? Will you come up, please, to the front of the auditorium? You'd be sworn in by the city clerk.
Thank you, Mayor, for the kind words, please. Thank you.
Ready? Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or sincerely affirm that you will faithfully execute and discharge the duties and responsibilities according to law as a member of the Inland Wetlands Agency of the City of Milford to the best of your ability, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Welcome, Mr. Gradwell. I know you'll do a great job on the Inland Wetlands Agency. The next item on the agenda is 8B, Alderman Pasali.
Agenda item 8B, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding grant application for Department of Human Services.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes, Alderman Marlowe.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I see Deepa is in the audience, and I wonder, my question would be the same for each one of these that are coming up. If you can just go into a little detail what the grant is for, how much it's for, and what it would be used for.
Good evening. So the grants that we have right now, and I will say for each of these resolutions allows us to apply for grants that are applicable to each of the different agencies, whether that's Human Services or Youth and Family Services, or grants through the Office of Early Childhood. So at the current time for Human Services, the grants that we have are through the Emergency Food and Shelter Program, which allow for emergency assistance in the areas of rent, mortgage, food, and utilities for residents. We also, on the Human Services side, are able to apply for CDBG funding, also for emergency rent, mortgage assistance. On the Youth and Family Services side, we are recognized as a youth service bureau within the state of Connecticut, and so through the Department of Children and Families, we are able to obtain grants to do programs to work with Milford Public Schools on individual therapy, group therapy, and positive programming for our youth. And then the Office of Early Childhood, that is a contract between the Office of Early Childhood through the City of Milford for child daycare spots, infant, toddler, and preschool placements for children, for families that are financially eligible.
Yes, Alderman Marlowe.
If I could just follow up, what were the amounts for these grants?
Sure. On the human services side, depending on from year to year, between $40,000, $45,000 total. On the youth and family services side, it's approximately $60,000 to $65,000 total. And then Office of Early Childhood, it is about $667,000 per year, and that's usually like a 3-year term.
And we have these grants right now?
We do.
So you're reapplying, and then do you see anything changing within the grant, the parameters of it or the requirements of the grant? I know that's a hard...
That's might be a hard question right now. I'm not really sure how those things will change. The Emergency Food and Shelter Program grant that I mentioned is actual federal dollars that come through the United Way of Greater New Haven to our agency, so I don't know if things will change. I will say in my time in leadership over Human Services and Youth and Family Services, the parameters haven't changed all that much. The funding amounts have changed from time to time in terms of what's available.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Good evening, Deepa. Do any of these grants require any additional personnel?
No.
Thank you.
Alderman Archeolo.
Thank you very much. Hi, Deepa. I just had a quick question. You said that these are federal grants through United Way of New Haven?
The Emergency Food and Shelter Program grant is federal funding that comes through the United Way of Greater New Haven, and then we apply for it through that.
Okay. And has the United Way of Greater New Haven issued a statement in result of any executive action from the federal government?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, 8C, Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 8C, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding grant application for youth and family services activities.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Federico.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just ask a follow-up question. What's the typical timeline when we would find out if these grants are actually approved, right? Because this is just the application stage.
Right. Typically, it's on the fiscal year that they get renewed, so they're usually 1-year terms. Sometimes on the Youth and Family Services, it could be a 2-year term. So we typically will apply in May or so, and we usually find out around July.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chair, if I may, just one quick correction, hoping that someone on the board could take care of it. Section, if you note in item number 1, it references section 17-443 of the Connecticut General Statutes. That was transferred to 17A39, then transferred to Connecticut General Statute section 10-19M. This has been a historic grant that we've done year after year. The form hasn't changed, but I just wanted to, if someone could amend it just to reflect the actual operative statute that exists now for this particular program. So moved. 10-19M.
Thank you, Attorney Bertram. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Attorney Bertram asked that that be amended. So we did that, or I think we, yeah, corrected it. Okay, sorry.
Alderman Pacelli, agenda item 8D.
Agenda item 8D, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding grant application for Office of Early Childhood.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Deepa, for answering our questions for us. Next item on the agenda is 8E. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 8E, Board of Aldermen approval is requested pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, Section 8-24, and the approval from the Planning and Zoning Board for the acceptance of the donation of 0 Northmore Road, map 39, block 613, parcel 21, and to authorize the mayor, open space manager, and city attorney to take all steps necessary to effectuate said acquisition, including signing all documents.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I see our open space individual up here. How you doing? Normore Road came up a while back also with another parcel. So with these two parcels, how much land does it really, are we figuring in there?
So the one you're referring to was in 2021. We actually acquired 5 different parcels within the approximately 15 that are in this 12-acre parcel. The one that we're asking for this evening is 0.17 acres. It's the last parcel that makes up this ecosystem.
This total amount of acreage?
I believe that Northmore LLC, who's donating this parcel, this is the first parcel they're going to be donating, the only one.
But there were parcels before, right?
Total area is approximately 12 acres. What's proposed tonight is 0.17 acres, which abuts the existing 12. So it'd be 12 and change.
So the last time we got a gift?
The last time that we acquired open space was in 2021. And again, those were abutting other larger pieces. I don't recall how big that was, but they're just, yeah.
Thank you.
In total, it was about 3 acres last time. About that is going off memory.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 9, new business not on the agenda.
Chairman
Yes.
I was going to mention it before, but I got interrupted. Did we mention anything? I don't think we mentioned anything about Black History Month on the mayor's report. Did you mention anything about it? Are we doing anything in Milford?
Are you asking that to the mayor? You're asking the mayor? Mr. Mayor, did you hear that question?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Willis. Alderman Willis, there's things that are happening in our community to celebrate.
Well, it's already February 3rd, and there's only 28 months in February. So I hope it's pretty soon.
I'd be happy to reach out to you and give you an update on the events that are taking place. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 10, budget memo transfers. There is none. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 11, refund list. There is none. Agenda item number 12, report of standing committees. Is there any reports of any standing committees? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a public we had a Public Works meeting this month, and a very interesting idea and proposal was given to us, and I'd like to bring up either Chris Saley or Rob Harrington to discuss that we have a garbage crisis in this city, so that maybe they can explore and explain this a little further. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Alderman Vitale. So there's a proposal through DEEP, where DEEP is going to fund a study to see how we can divert some of the trash that we presently produce in Milford. It'll be no cost to the city, and the first step of that is to get a committee to get together to look at some of the scenarios that they're going to propose. Again, no cost to the city, and it was something we brought up at the subcommittee meeting so that the subcommittee members could take a look at it, and you guys as a whole will know more about it when we get, I guess, on the agenda. Most people probably don't realize that we do have a significant trash issue in the state. We produce about 1 million tons more of trash than we can actually handle in the state in regards to landfilling or burning. So it's definitely something that we need to be proactive about. Our costs are going to continue to go up. We're lucky we were locked in for another 4 years with just a cost of living cost. Right now we're paying $85.25 at a tipping fee in Bridgeport, but that will go up every year. But after that, there's 4 years left on the contract. After that, we anticipate a significant wage increase. There's other towns presently paying $120 a ton. So it's one of the things that we looked at.
Thank you, and I guess you were emphasizing the idea of it being a crisis and coming to a head pretty soon. So alternatively, there was a program that was introduced to us that we're going to be piloting, probably, or how is that going to be figuring it in?
No, I think that's where it got a little confusing at the subcommittee meeting. It was more or less the first step of this is to get a committee together to look at different scenarios. One of the scenarios is what we talked about, which was a pay-as-you-throw program. We looked at it a number of years ago with Brian Anderson, Alderman Anderson, and Alderman Gurman. It never got off the ground. They're doing it in Massachusetts. I'm not saying it works here or not, but it would be one of the many scenarios. We're looking to potentially divert one of the things that we're looking to that I think that we can do internally in the city is to divert organic or food waste. Rob Harrigan has started the process, and we're a little disappointed in the response, to be honest with you, but anywhere between 20 and 25% of our weight is food waste that we can bring and digest and actually produce energy from and reduce the greenhouse effects that presently happen when we landfill or burn it.
So you talk about a committee that will be formed. Is that going to be on the responsibility of the chair of the Public Works Department, a Public Works committee, subcommittee, or will that be on you working in tandem with our chair?
I think it would work in tandem with the mayor's office and the alderman. How that works out, who's on the committee, that's not really my decision, but I think it should be people that understand the process and understand that there is a significant issue in the state with it.
Thank you.
Alderman Casey, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about recycling. Like sometimes, it's not clear what can be recycled, what cannot. I have a constituent one time asked me if glass is able to be recycled. I didn't really know the answer. So sometimes, it's kind of hard. Maybe we can push the education of what's recycled, not. Because sometimes, we have my neighborhood, we have people rejecting recycling because of some defect or something that's not being recyclable, and we don't want that. But sometimes maybe we can re-educate people like that. What's recycled, what's not, I guess.
Yeah, Alderman Casey, I agree with you. It's one of the, I'm glad you brought up about recycling. It is a significant issue, and this is trying to change people's processing about how to recycle. And I got to be honest with you, Europe has the right idea. They require the people what they call source separate. So there's locations where people are required to separate glass and cardboard and other plastics. We've had a significant issue in the last 6 months, a tick up, where we've almost lost 2 $400,000 trash trucks because people are putting lithium batteries in the recycling and or trash. So we've had, I believe it's 3 fires in trucks and 2 at the transfer station the last 6 months. One was today at the Housing Authority. they put a recycled or there's a dumpster, we dump it in the back of a hopper. It looked like a bike, but it was actually an electric bike with a battery. And once it got compacted, it started a fire. Luckily, Rob Harrigan was able to get the battery out so it didn't catch it. But a few weeks ago, we had one that caused significant damage to another truck. It really is a big, big issue. And people, I hate to say it, they just think they can throw everything away. So we do need to do a better job educating. That's a big component of it, definitely. And also separating, and how to separate it appropriately so that we can offset some of the costs that we have in the city.
Thank you.
Phil, I have a question.
Alderman Beatty.
Thank you. Director Saley, just to piggyback on that, I thought it was a good public service message that came out just about that lithium battery. Was that from the police department or the fire department about proper disposal, and you were in on that instruction, and that was helpful, even to people who think they know, like me.
Yes. So that was the fire department after, not today, but the last time it happened. I reached out to Chief Fabrizi and the fire department to see if we could get a public message out, but I think we have to say it more and more and more. People are just so used to throwing things away. And batteries, as we all are well aware, are very, very dangerous when they ignite. They just don't go off. They don't go, they're very hard to put out. So it's definitely something we need to do a better job educating people.
Thank you. And through Chairman Vitro to you, I should say. The first thing I wanted to mention was to ask for clarification. You're referring to Public Works as a subcommittee. My understanding, it's a standing committee, which gives it more agency or power. It works with you as the department head, whereas some of the other committees that are listed as special committees, subcommittees, we have a liaison who represents for the purpose of going to those meetings and then coming back and informing the alders so that we're informed. So they're both two good functions, but the standing committee gives that more responsibility. Being a standing committee, that means that it's on the agenda at all times. One would not have to ask permission to be put on the agenda or a 2/3 vote for new business because it's a standing committee that always can give a report. So there's quite a distinction. So I wondered why you called it a subcommittee.
I learned something today, Alderman Beatty. I didn't know that after 10 plus years
After
with the
all
city.
those years
I thought it
working
was
together.
a subcommittee, so I apologize for that. Subcommittee standing, I don't know. It's all the same to me, but I appreciate it. So I realize now that we can just come up.
And there's a distinction in function, as there is with the commission. The commission has more direct contact with the department head.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for the clarification.
Any more reports of any special?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Alderman Healy.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for Alderman Vitale for bringing up Chris Saley to talk about this matter. So on the Standing Committee for Public Works, the meeting was on the 27th, and it was a solid waste consultant that was there, and he represented DEEP. He has 30 years of experience in solid waste, recently moved to Milford. His name is Mark Darcy, and he has an associate, Kristen Brown, also. And they presented orally a conceptual information about pay-as-you-throw concept, and then number 2, curb pickup system. It's been identified that there's 371,000 ton gap in terms of solid waste distribution between Bridgeport and Southington in terms of what they're able to burn. And going down the road, this is going to be, as it's been identified by the director, an issue for the city with increasing costs. We currently have a contract, as Chris just mentioned, that runs out for another 4 years. But this was just strictly an informational basis. We spoke to the consultant at this meeting, and I encouraged him that the next meeting when he comes to present information succinctly that we can look at based on best practices. He identified the municipality of Middletown as operationally having a system that's in place currently. So this is an ongoing matter. It's been brought up by the director. The assistant director was present. Rob was not present at this particular meeting, but more to come, and it's a work in progress. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
And while I have the public service message, the other big thing that we have to really clarify, make sure Milford residents realize, no plastic bags of any kind in recycling. It's a significant issue. It comes up the works up in Shelton. So just keep repeating to your constituents when they ask, when they get ticketed where they say we're not picking up no plastic bags. People are so used to putting a garbage bag in the recycling bin, fill it up, and take the whole bag and throw it out. It's useless. It's trash. When it gets up to Shelton, it literally gets brought into what they call residual, which gets burnt. So all the good work that these people are doing goes to waste. So no plastic bags.
The problem with that, Chris, is on all those plastic bags you get from the supermarkets, right on there it says recyclable. That's where the confusion is. There's nothing you can do about it, but they read that and they think it's recyclable, so they throw it in the recyclable bin.
Yeah, we're paddling upstream with that one. You are correct, Phil.
Alderman Pacelli.
Thank you, Chairman Vitro. Through you to Director Saley. Since you are here and we're talking about waste and recyclables, is there any update on the Condominium Community Association plan going forward, or is that still a work in progress?
This is, that's going to be put on pause, and I'll explain to you why. Without throwing darts at people and everything else, we have a significant issue in solid waste right now with trucks. And we don't have the capacity right now. We're struggling right now to keep trucks on the road. An example, the recycling trucks we bought in 2011, 2012 are obviously 13 years past their useful, like they're 13 years old. The other ones that we purchased, actually not 13, was it? 12 years old. And the other ones we bought in 2016, obviously are 8 years old. The industry standard is, 5 to 6 years and they replace them. And I know it's very hard to squeeze money and everything else, but we just weren't allowed, when I say Public Works, wasn't allowed to fund or budget previously for new trucks. We're now working with the mayor to try to budget, but there's 18 to a 2-year lead time on it. So we're really, really going to struggle, even with the funding, to get these trucks. So that's why, one of the reasons why we put it on pause. We can't take more capacity.
Equipment issue. You don't have enough capacity.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Alderman Beatty.
Through Chairman Vitro to you, Director Saley. This is just minor. As long as you're up there, I wanted to applaud you. You started, and I guess with the mayor, this administration, the composting. Does that have legs yet? It was just started in November. Do you have...
I'll let Rob talk about that. It's a great program, but we haven't had as much community input as I would have liked to see, but I'll let Rob talk about that for a second.
And is there slowness or this, if that's true, that there's a little bit of reluctance, is it a matter of not having curbside pickup, which I know is a great labor expense and everything, but what,
Yeah, I think
how
that would
can
be
we
part
help?
of it. I think obviously the easier you make it for people that they, probably are more willing to participate. Right now, you'd have to drive it down to the transfer station, which a lot of people may look as something that might be cumbersome. We're hoping to get there, but at first we need to educate the people, as in recycling, what can be put in those bins. We did just get some information from Curbside last week that said that Milford was able to, from October to the middle of January, was able to remove about 3,000 pounds of food waste from the stream. So obviously, it's a start.
That's good.
Yeah, but we're hoping that it kind of picks up more. We did buy 250 startup kits, and we've probably sold roughly 35 to 40 of them right now. So we still have a lot more, hopefully, to sell. Not that you need to buy those, but that's obviously an option. So I think, like it was touched on before, education, just understanding why we need to do this, more why it would be good for the community, good for, going green, more sustainability, as well as good for, just budgetary reasons as well. So there's a lot of things in play for why, this would be a positive thing for the city of Milford.
Could you save money on the recycling? How some of the recycling is soiled by wet food waste, the pizza box issue. But if you have the composting, you could get drier recycling. Is that true?
So with recycling, like Chris touched on before, with source separating, that could be potential. We are running a pilot program right now where in the city of Milford where we're trying to separate cardboard because that is a commodity, and we would, instead of being charged for it, we can actually, city can make some money on that. More money back from that, so that's one of the options that we're looking at. There is a glass pilot program down at the transfer station as well. It's a green bin where all that glass gets brought up to Beacon Falls, where they actually turn it into like a dust, which actually then gets put into cement, which creates more green, sustainable concrete. So there are different things that we are trying to implement. to, look at the budget and also try to make sure that those products, are resources and do get reused instead of just being thrown out.
Thank you.
If I could touch on that too for a second, one of the things that we're looking at as part of this pilot program is to collect organic and trash in the same bin, and it would be separated at a location. And this is the monies that DEEP would give us to fund that, to start the pilot program, to do the research, and actually hopefully give us the bins for free so we could give them to residents for free. So these are the things we're trying to do. It's more of looking down the road and realizing where we're going to be with trash. Right now, the economics aren't that great because it's expensive to collect separately. That's the biggest thing. So we're trying to see if we can collect it together, green bag going in with the regular trash, and we separate it at a transfer station. Middletown is doing that presently with about 3,000 homes.
Would DEEP be more responsive to supporting that going forward if you had a successful pilot program with the composting? It would show that you've shifted behaviors.
That is the program, and they want to get the state more involved with diversions, it's called. Diversion with the things that go into trash that really could be reused. But one of them is food waste, composting, it's the same. Anything that you make food-wise, bones, meat, everything can go in. It's not just the composting. It's really an impressive process, and we were up in, where was it, Southington? And it's really unbelievable how they produce energy from food waste.
And they save money on the bulk trash collection, or save. I mean,
Yes,
is that the
yes,
other side of
yes,
it?
that's the goal.
Any more reports of any more standing committees? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Seeing none, anybody have any reports of any special committees? Alderman Federico.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the board, I have an update from the Sewer Commission meeting, which was January 22nd. The commission approved 2 petitions for sewer extensions at 62 Long Island View Road and 5 Saco Street. And then another topic that the commission spent quite a bit of time discussing was some sewage contamination on the shellfish beds at the end of Seaview Ave in the Laurel Beach area. So at the time of the meeting, this had been discovered, and the city teams were working very, very hard and doing a number of testing and cleaning and all kinds of activities to try to find the source of the contamination and to stop it. I don't know if we have any new updates since the 22nd, since Director Saley is here, if he has anything else to share with us. If not, as far as I knew, they were still in the midst of trying to solve the issue.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, this started mid-November. We've never had a problem with water quality off of the Laurel Beach. It's actually one of the cleanest areas in the state. But we seem to have, well, not seem, we do have a significant issue with sewage getting into the Long Island Sound. Just an FYI, we did test the water, so it's technically safe to swim in, but the oysters obviously filter all this stuff, so there was a higher level in the oysters, and we have an issue. We have been down there for a month and a half, almost 2 months now. We haven't found the source. We spent thousands of dollars with vac trucks, cameraing, dye testing, pressure testing, and we're going farther up the line. It's very, very frustrating, and I appreciate the gentleman who sent the letter. I saw that yesterday, I believe, or this morning. Our goal right now is we're going to line the stormwater system. It's not an inexpensive process. After dealing with our consultant, Westcott and Mapes, Mark Davis, he felt it was the most prudent action was to secure the actual stormwater system and line it with a new liner we're looking right now from 5th Ave to 8th Ave, and we're hoping that will resolve the issue, but there's no guarantee because truthfully we haven't found the source. And we originally thought it was a cross-contamination with one house. After meeting with the Aqua Center and also DEEP, the concentrations are high enough that it's just not one house, it's something more. And it's a little complicated because down Seaview Ave, there's a main line that goes from Walnut Beach all the way to 1st Ave, and that's about 14 feet in the ground. And then there's fingers going down the streets, 5th Ave, 6th Ave, 7th Ave, and then up the street that feed into that. So it's been very, very challenging, and we don't have the source, but we're going to try to rectify it in a different way.
Alderman Bevan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Park Beach and Recreation Department, there has been an agreement with the McCann family on the natatorium. Perhaps maybe Attorney Bertram could give a little more information on that, if you would, please.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Bevan. Yes, that's true. The city has reached an agreement, a license agreement with the McCanns for their continued use and our continued use. It was a long negotiation, but the end up, I think both sides are satisfied with the term. The city increased its usage rates over 100%. There's increases over the next couple of years, and things are going well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more reports of any special committees? Alderman Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to comment on the Flood and Erosion Board. Myself and Holly Mulraran for the 3rd District have been working on the Walnut Beach, Wildermere Beach Stabilization Project, which has been brought before the Board of Aldermen by residents and their president representatives from each organization. And I've sat in on the last Board of Flood and Erosion Control Board. We've held multiple meetings and with Public Works and with the Assistant Director and the Director and other interested parties. They've been a great value and a great help. I will be sitting in and monitoring going forward flood and erosion so that we're staying on top of this particular matter. This particular scope of work and this particular project is one that's in depth. We have the support of the Mayor's office. We thank the Mayor and the City Attorney's office on what's been achieved so far, and we're continuing to move forward on an incremental basis on this. But it also dovetails into emergency management, and which is under the umbrella of the Fire Commission and Public Works. So we've got multiple committees that are involved, and I'll be reporting further. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Healy. Any more reports of any other standing committees? Alderman Morenin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you, to just report and share to the board. In the Board of Education, we had a resignation of one of our board members, Una Petrowski, who served for 6 years on the board. And I just want to publicly acknowledge and thank her for her years of service. She served for 6 years on the board and was a very valuable member to the Board of Education activities, and she served as the majority leader, and she'll be missed, and I just wanted to acknowledge and express our gratitude for her years of service.
Thank you for bringing that up, Alderman Mulrennan. Is there any more reports of any standing committees?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Alderman Healy.
Specifically on the Fire Commission, meeting was held on the 21st. We have 3 new commissioners that are currently on board, and Kevin McGrath was elected chairman unanimously. Fire Headquarters project is moving along. Chairman McGrath has been issuing updates on that. Obviously, it's a very important critical asset for our public safety initiative here in Milford, getting the fire department back into its headquarters. Additionally, the chief reported we have 4 new firefighters, and they recently graduated from the academy, and one of our firefighters was top in class, and we are at full department strength currently. However, there are possible retirements of 4 individuals in the next 90 days. They currently have a hiring list of 17 candidates that expires on August 15th of 2025. And additionally, our revenue for EMS services is increased by 3.8% in calls for service. 60% of the calls of the fire department are medical. And discussion by the commissioners was talking about the current funding on EMS revenue. So the structure currently allows for the fire department to maintain 25%. 75% goes back to the city, and they were looking to have a discussion relative to that. They, through the chairman, asked, I was there representing the Board of Aldermen, asked me for a review of that particular matter, and I told them it would be pertinent for them if it was going to be approached, that it be an ROI, return on investment. If they needed to pursue something and seek it, they would need to do a cost-benefit analysis, present that to the appropriate chief executive, which is the mayor's office, and then subsequently come back to the board. So those are the updates. The speaker system across Milford for emergency flooding and other emergencies is being updated at the present time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Healy. Is there any more reports of any special committees? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Permanent school facility buildings. The Pumpkin Delight project is coming to a close, final punch list after a couple of years of renovation. Our focus is on the foreign and law projects with the auto, culinary, and the child care centers. So that'll be a project that'll be in place and going on for the next year or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Vitale. Any more standing committees, special committee reports? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss item 14A and 14B. And joining us in executive session will be Mayor Gina Tazio, City Attorney Jonathan Bertram, Assistant City Attorney Deborah Kelly, which I don't see here right now, Finance Director Peter Iridici, and Risk Manager Tony Weeks. Do I have a motion? We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All in favor? Discussion. Thank you for that correction, Alderman Smith. I was reading that off of last year's report. All in favor? Opposed? We are in executive session. We have to wait till the audience leaves. Okay, we're now out of executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.